Okay, hello everyone. And I am so excited for everyone who is here today because this is a friend that I have met virtually. I mean, probably everyone I've interviewed has been virtually, but you are someone on like TikTok, and I'm pretty sure I went down the rabbit hole on your account the first time that we connected on TikTok. And then we found each other on Instagram. And then I was like, I need to interview you because I just wanted to talk to you. And now we're here. So I'm so excited we've
So
made
grateful,
it.
so excited.
So
Thank you,
this is
Sheila.
my friend Jack. And on Instagram and TikTok, it's Mr. Jack Cat.
Yep.
Would you like to introduce yourself to everyone?
Yeah, hi. Thank you so much for having me, Kayla. It's truly a pleasure. Yeah, I'm Jack, he, him pronouns, and I myself have been a teacher in the disability space for 10 years um, in New York City, where I live. And my 11th year, I left the classroom and I am now a district mathematics coach, supporting teachers. And I taught for those 10 years special education at the high school level, mostly students with disabilities who are autistic. And I absolutely loved it. I miss my students so much. They are everything to me. And yeah, but I'm in a very happy, better place, which I think we'll get to in many ways because teaching is hard.
Yeah.
Um, yeah, for sure.
Man, 10 years. You like beat the statistic of like the teacher
Yeah,
burnout 5 years.
I wanted to make that decade. So
That is really impressive. I did not. I made it 5 years. The
that's
classic
still
5.
very admirable. You know what it's like. You've been in the trenches for sure.
Yeah. Well, what would you say are like, this is not a question that I already put on the email that I sent you, but what do you feel like are some of the barriers as a special ed teacher feeling support like from your school?
Yeah, I think just for as a special ed teacher, as any teacher, I think it's just a time problem, really. It's a lack of for teachers to have enough time in a week, in a day, to not always feel like they're behind on making copies, on planning lessons. If you really are care as much as I know you and I do, and so many teachers do, where to get it all done in one contract hour day is not possible. I would give my job as an educator an hour to 2 hours every day for year after year after year, because that's just what I needed to do to really make sure I felt most prepared for my students so I can give them the best of me each and every day. But it really leads to so much burnout, and it's a hard balance. And we need additional support and funding and resources to really help mitigate that.
Yeah, that is so true. I mean, I always tried, I think my favorite I don't know if it's like a tip, but my favorite thing that I did as a teacher was trying to have some sort of activity that didn't require me to be a part of it. So I could do work while I was also with the students. So like
Mm.
um trying like when I was an elementary school teacher, we used to do like silent reading after lunch. And it wasn't always silent and it wasn't always reading, but it was always like this. Everyone knew that we had 20 minutes of coming back from lunch where, like, they could, even if they were walking around holding a book or, whatever they were doing to have this like kind of come down moment from coming back from lunch. So I could like mentally and physically prepare. Because, I was very adamant of taking my lunch break. I was like, I'm
Yep.
not working during my 45-minute lunch break or 30,
I
however
was the
long it was.
same.
So then, then you come back with the chaos of all the kids coming down and it's like, okay,
Yeah.
like,
And that pull is always there to do more, to do more, to give more. And it's really hard.
yeah, it is. I want to talk about you on social media. So what started that? How is it going?
Yeah.
Favorite
So
informational videos.
what connected us, and really it was the pandemic. It was 2020, a lockdown. Um, just scrolling TikTok like millions others. And get on Teacher Talk, get on Autism Talk, Disability Talk, and just absorbing all that. And I'm like, oh, wow, I'm learning, I'm experiencing. Why don't I just try and join that and, make the leap? And it took a lot of my own personal courage to put myself out there, to get myself here. But it ultimately was the greatest thing for me personally. It was something I feel like I was yearning for. That's
Yeah.
for a long time, to just be an advocate, to learn and grow in my ability to speak up and speak out about issues and reflect on my own learning. I'm very, very passionate and politically charged in many ways over so many different topics. And it just really, sprouted from just one video to another, to just trying to be funny, to try and learn the different, editing skills. And I'm nowhere near what the kids today can do,
Oh,
but
yeah.
yeah. And there's so many
I don't
different
know.
fun
Actually, I'm pretty impressed with your
habits.
editing skills. You do a lot of like green, you're always like, here's this and here's this. Like I'm impressed with your editing skills.
Yeah, I've cut back over the last few, the last year or two. I used to post a lot in my old classroom, and then there was some, you know, uh, issues as far as, that had to stop.
I've had
I
that too.
Yeah, I kind of got, told please don't do it at school anymore after upsetting it's my own conspiracy theory, but it was right after a viral video I made calling out our mayor for our new mayor 3 days into his administration, who no one's a fan of here in New York City. And then things kind of got to my principal at some point, and it was like,
Yeah.
well, she was extremely respectful and and understanding, but it was like, let's just be careful. Um,
I
I
feel
care
like that.
so much. That's
Yeah.
I care so much about, yeah, my
I
students.
I got in trouble because I said, I mean, this was before, so Inclusion Starts Now, my Instagram account. I've had it since I was an undergrad, like years and years ago, undergrad, before when I was a teacher. Um, years ago. Like, I mean, I don't know, it's probably been almost a decade of me having this Instagram account, but it started out as just like, I would randomly post things that I was doing in my classroom. And it was really just my friends who followed me. And then I'd stop because I get bored. And like, it was never something that I thought I would keep doing or like make it a brand or uh, a business. Like, I never really thought about because I just was a teacher. I just thought it was like a fun thing. Um, and my last year teaching, I posted like a picture of me looking sad and saying like how I just didn't feel supported at my school. And I just didn't really think anything of it because I was like, I don't know, I barely like anyone who follows me are like my friends. But it still got back to the principal and then they told me they were like, you can't be posting things. And I'm like, yeah, that totally makes sense. I guess I was viewing it as like this group chat to my friends.
Yeah.
But then after that, again, I took a break for a couple years and then I was like, okay, I'm going back hard. And that was probably like 2 years ago.
Oh,
Um,
wow. Okay.
and or I don't, what is time? Uh,
Yeah.
somewhere around 2 or 3 years ago. But then I've way more focused on it. And now I do have to think a lot more of like, okay, what am I posting? How is this going to be offensive? Like,
Yep.
what are people going to comment?
Yeah.
And do you have like a lot of people with I don't know, mean comments, ableist comments, like
I mean,
do
it's
you
the
manage?
internet. I myself don't get many of those. I try not to be too controversial. Sadly, that's like the only way to go viral anymore, or like to get the views and the attention, is to kind of be salacious or have a hot take on something or
Yeah.
follow the trends. But when it comes to just advocacy and education, you know, I see your page, I see mine. We're very much, yes, PC, and we care, um, and we're passionate, but yeah, that's not really the controversy that drives the
Yeah.
social media. And then it's just, I don't engage in any of those comments. I just try and reflect and, you know, learn on it's the internet. You can't change people's minds very easily or at all in the comment
Yeah.
section of any video. So there's that's where it leads me to further reflect and study on how do we really address these in bigger and more concrete ways.
Yeah. Oh, that's a very positive way of doing it because I definitely am petty and I will sit there and attempt to educate all these people who just don't know anything about this field. And I mean, I've definitely have had to turn off comments on videos because
Yeah. Oh
it'll go
yeah.
to the wrong side. But yeah, I try to be educational. It's not like I'm not trying to like piss people off, but I also want people to learn that like we can do better.
Yeah. Well,
And
and for me, I can say over my now 4 year journey with social media and posting and advocacy, um, it really, the reason I've done, it's why I've left the classroom, honestly, to go to the district level to have more of a reach is because I see those ableist comments. I see the lack of education and current knowledge and best practices on social media, which is totally different than the real world.
yeah,
Um, and we're in one little niche corner of social media that is
yeah,
catered to our community that we're in. And it's important to get out of that as well, the best we can. And really, it was because I was called out time and time again for my own ableism, my own internalized ableism, my own lack of understanding. And if you, I can look from 2020 to now and how my language has changed, how my practices have changed, how the best thing in the world has been the actually autistic community calling me in and
yeah,
me acknowledging them, me not always, I'm right, you're wrong. No, don't tell me that I'm wrong here and get defensive, but to like sit back, not that comments and being called in or called out doesn't sit, uncomfortably at first, but if I really want to be better, then I need to listen to the affected community. I need to make those changes. I need to do the further research to see what they're saying. And especially if it's their own lived experience. And so many people just get so defensive immediately.
yeah,
And, we don't grow in that mindset then.
yeah. Oh, I used to say differently abled. I thought that was like the
Oh, yeah.
coolest word. And I mean, again, this was, I don't know, a decade ago. This was
Oh,
while I was like a student. Um, and the first time I heard it, I was like, oh, that's great. And then I think like very quickly we learned that it was not what the disabled community liked. And it was like, no, that language is extremely offensive. I do have a disability. Like you can call it a disability. And yeah, and I mean, the more I talk to people, because I guess this is where I struggle with like really being controversial because if someone is going to say that they have like a special needs child, I'm not going to sit there and be like, you're wrong. Don't say that.
yeah.
They're the parent, they're educating themselves. That's how they're going to use, like, that's their language. Like, where I also have friends who are huge at like self advocates who despise the word special needs. And I'm like, I mean, I think
I
what
hate
we
it.
really focus on is like how do we just like give everyone the support and information they
Yeah.
need. But
And for me, it's not you're wrong or you need to stop saying it's well with inquiry is
yeah,
that's the first thing. Well, what do you mean by that? You have a special needs child. What is it? What do you mean special needs child? What is special about their needs exactly? And have them explain it. Have them reflect on it. Think about it. And it's not going to change anything right then and there, but you plant a seed.
yeah. Oh, I love asking questions. I'm actually pretty sure this was from Think Again by Adam Grant, who we are both huge fangirls of.
Yes.
Oh, good. You have it right. I do have it in my fancy bookshelf behind me, but not in this one.
But yes, I'm glad you've read Think Again because I think that I think again constantly about everything, and it's
Yeah.
changed my own mindset and how I approach conversations and differences.
Yeah. I mean, that's usually when I talk to teachers. I do when I do conferences, one of the topics I talk a lot about is like how do you start inclusion at a school that doesn't want to be inclusive? And really quick, can you hear my kids screaming?
No, I cannot.
No? Okay, cool, cool. Um, they're downstairs with their dad. Um, what was I saying? Oh, okay, about how to get inclusion out of school that's not that's not practicing inclusion. And I usually first off, I always reference Think Again. I'm like, everyone needs to buy this book because when you are trying to change people's minds of like what the classroom should look like and what learning should look like it's gonna take a lot of conversation. Um, but it does take a lot of like we can't go in and just being like, here are the facts, here's the research, it's the best thing, like you're stupid for not doing it. Like
Yes.
no one's going to change their mind if we come in just like, and I think they talk about that, and Adam Grant talks about that and Think Again, where it's like coming at someone with all these facts usually
Yeah.
doesn't change their mind.
Yeah. And for me in my new district role, I think that's been the best thing is technically I am a mathematics coach, but I'm also a teacher, like
Yeah.
in the same as far as salary goes, as far as my union goes, as far as my title, like teacher. Um, but being just, I go to different schools now within my district all over New York City, and I get to have conversations a little bit about language and so forth and best practices. And when I was in my own school, I was kind of pigeonholed to just on level with all the other teachers and my administration. I would try to advocate for small changes here and there and educate, but there's only so much you can do. And now at the district level, I'm go into the different schools and I'm seen and given much more respect. I'm not saying I'm, mightier than anyone or whatever or above anybody, but at the same time, I'm coming as an outsider. I'm not here to judge and critique. I'm here to help and support, and I'm listened to. I'm
Yeah.
respected in that manner, and I have more reach. And that's what I really, really love, I think, most about the current role that I'm in. And it really is helping with that larger change spreading that I want
Yeah.
to change even sooner. And
Do
I
you
should have
feel
also, oh, go ahead.
no, no.
No, I should also reference like it is a very personal journey advocating for our neurodivergent students, for our disabled students. I myself am neurodivergent through TikTok, through Instagram, through then the books and the research that I've been recommended since 2020. Like I've fully embraced my own neurodivergence. I have ADHD. I have my own processing differences. I am disabled myself with a physical disability in Ehlers-Danlos syndrome, hypermobility type, that causes me a lot of chronic pain every day. But I've learned through that community what all of that means, how to embrace that, how to struggle with the challenges that come with all of those different identifiers, and proudly call myself neurodivergent and disabled. And I don't have special needs at all. And that's
Yeah.
such a critical, critical part of my own advocacy is giving allowance to everyone else to embrace their own identities and to not feel shame or less than because they might have a disability.
Um, you actually posted a lot of good videos. I was going through a lot of your videos again yesterday before our
Thank
interview
you.
today, and I saw one that I don't think I saw before, where you go over like the pain scale for I don't remember the name.
Ehlers-Danlos syndrome. Yep.
Yeah.
EDS.
And I thought that was really interesting. Just like thinking about, I mean, it's like a really great way to like educate people and like kind of give them a different kind of perspective of like, this is what it looks like this is like, and then like showing what you use to like support yourself to like, try to
Yeah.
help yourself through the pain. Um And yeah, I mean, I found it extremely informational. I feel like all your videos are extremely informational.
Yeah, and thank you so much. And for me, it really was my chronic pain and disability really turned on in 2020, 2021, where it required supports, where it required myself to accommodate myself with different flexible seating and so forth. And it really became a passion project of, well, if I need all of these, and so why can't I give that to my students in the classroom? Why can't I create a more affirming environment for them, for their sensory needs, for their own disabilities? And it became a little bit of an obsession to, you know, find as many tools and resources that I could within my own limited budget and my
Yeah.
own classroom, which was like a lab in many ways. And that's teaching in general. Like it's the greatest job, it's the greatest gift in the world.
Yeah. So, I also wanted to ask about your new job, being with the district. Do you feel like you have more say now in how your district is like supporting students?
I'm on the STEM team, and our district is very big. I'm in New York City's District 75, which is the largest special education district, like only special education district in the world. There's over 26,000 students in my district, and
Wow.
they're all students with moderate to high support needs um, in a variety of different classrooms and settings. That doesn't mean in New York City, there's about 1 million students in the whole public school system. We're about 26,000 of those, just in mind, but there's also a couple hundred other thousand students with IEPs, but ours have the highest needs in my district. So yes, I definitely am in small ways finding more reach, finding more ways to spread that awareness and best practices on language, on behavior management, and so forth. And just getting away from the harm in many ways,
Yeah.
because I've, in many ways, taken what I've garnered on social media, and now I'm just putting it really much, very much into the real world, and where they're not getting this information in the
Yeah.
real world. And it's truly, truly such a need and so important because there are so many ableist practices from the top down, even many that I'm still reflecting on constantly and trying to do better.
Oh yeah. Oh my gosh. Thinking back to like my first couple years teaching, or probably just all 5 years of my teaching, like now of everything that I've learned, I can look back and be like, that was horrible practice. Like, why
Yeah.
did I
Oh,
do
yeah.
that?
Oh, I caused a lot of harm. And that's actually when I can be open and honest on social media about all the practices I've changed and all the harm I've got. That's where I think why I've garnered a sense of community and respect and acknowledgement from, disabled individuals from the actually autistic community, in more ways than one, because I'm open and honest about, oh, wow, I'm really sorry for all of this I caused. Like when you know
Yeah.
better, you do better. And that's what I'm 100% dedicated to.
Yeah. Well, I think that's great. I think it's so hard to like admit that we are changing. Like I don't know, people feel like they need to have this like perfect view. I don't know, like come off as like this very educated, I know everything persona,
Yeah.
which is why I love when Adam Grant has that whole like it's good to be wrong because now you're closer to being right, but that we
Yes.
should just always be wrong. Like we are
Yeah.
always going to be learning. And he
That's the
puts it,
biggest thing. The more I learn, the more like I'm presented with new ideas, with different
yeah.
ideas, the more I realize I don't know.
Yes. That I was telling someone about this with traveling, that I'm like, every time I travel somewhere, I never want to go back because now it's like open. I'm like, oh, I've been here. Well, now I want to go to 5 other cities that are in the area,
Uh-huh.
but I can't like afford to do that because
Yeah, that's the same with my wife and I for sure. And I have no problem with anyone who wants to go to the same resort or cabin for 40 years, year after year. That's fine. My wife and I are very much, I'm the same where it's like, I want to
yeah,
see everything, I want to explore. But yeah.
I'm not going to judge those other people, but they're wrong. No, I'm kidding.
Thank you.
Um, I had another question and I just totally lost it. Um, Working with the district. Oh, I wanted to ask about your students. So are all your students in your district, like, is it just like special education classes?
Yes, they're all self-contained. Some ICT or integrative co-teaching, which we call inclusion. Um, yeah, but mostly self-contained in different ratios, which go like 611, 811, 1211 classes, meaning like 6 students to one teacher to one paraprofessional, or 6 or 8 students. I was most primarily for my 10 years, I taught 811. So I generally had 8 students, which 611 meaning students with the highest support needs, 811 more moderate, and then we have like 1211, which
Interesting.
yeah,
So do they have the goal to like get back into the general ed setting or do they not?
no, honestly, I can't sugarcoat it. No, they're going to be segregated and self-contained until they, age out at 22. And
So do most of them stay till 22?
yes,
Do you have a plan for afterwards? Like, do you help them with a transition plan?
yes, I also, the last 3, 4 years of my teaching, I was a transition teacher. And yes, we work with the parents, we work with the Medicare service providers to get them all set up for that. We work with agencies to try and get them job placements, but it is hard. And I know I talk a lot about language and the importance of shifts there and practices, but I don't get caught up on that anymore necessarily too much, because the outcomes of our students is what really matters the most. And for people with disabilities, the unemployment rate is
Yeah.
atrocious. The opportunities are still atrocious. There's so much work to do. And that's why I admire your push for inclusion, because that's the push. That's what we need from the top down. And
Mhm.
that is such an critical point, because we can talk language all day, but really what is the outcome for our
Yeah.
students with disabilities? And it's not good. A lot of them go to day have centers, which can be great, opportunities, but they want more. Everybody wants to live a more fulfilling life, and it's hard to get them opportunities. It's hard to get businesses and the general public to open their doors, and give us a chance. But it's worth fighting for every single day.
Oh, definitely. Oh my gosh. I feel like I had so many things were just running through my head while you were saying all
Mhm.
that. I mean, it's
I mean,
um
I know you
yeah,
know.
oh, it's I've been on like I've been the person to come in like for transitional IEPs and I mean and I've seen so many teams where it's like, there it's like, do you know when the last day for your child is? And they don't. And then they hear it and it's like, oh, that's like in 6 months. What are we gonna do? And it's like, okay, well, we need to
Yep.
like figure out a plan.
Yes.
And it's, I mean, it's so important and it's man, I gosh, it's like I have so many things to say, but I also don't want to be like extremely controversial or anything. But I do feel like there needs to be more like a higher expectation for a lot of our students, like just
Yeah.
with families, with teachers, with their community, that it's like, they can have a disability and like still have a job. Like they can have a disability and still go to college. I
Yep.
mean,
Yep.
even students with like extensive support needs, like there are opportunities out there, but it does take, I mean, I don't think it's like you could just kind of be floating on through and then you get to 22 and it's like, okay, well, where's the job? And it's like, okay,
Yeah.
well, there needs to be some sort of practice leading up to finishing their public education. Like you can't just expect them to be like, I don't know, learning like randomly whatever they're learning to then be like, okay, well, we got you a job at a restaurant mopping floors. Like, oh, you don't know what a mop is because no one expected you to do chores at your house. Like it's wow, I just feel like my brain is going in a million different directions right now.
Yeah. I mean, you have to be a whole community as a school, and that means bringing in the parents. That means educating the parents. That means not just focus just on the students, because in many ways they need that extra support. They can't fully advocate for themselves. So a lot of our students, a lot of the students that I worked with who might be, 22, but chronologically, but then cognitively, they're at that kindergarten level. And they're in their reading, writing, math, communication ability and skills. And there's nothing wrong with that. That doesn't mean they still don't deserve every opportunity and to have a fulfilling life and have interests and joy. Um, but yeah, we have to then help the parents in that matter and give them a path in many ways.
Yeah, I tell people a lot that as a person in education that I'm like, I chose this field. Like I chose this field, I studied in it, like this is where I wanted to
Yep.
be. Parents did not choose this. Like they were going to have a child and they had no idea that there's this whole
Right.
ableist side of our community um that that you have to like struggle to fight against and then like learn. So it's like you're trying to learn everything that you can about your child. You're trying to like figure out, what might a new path look like for your child,
Yeah.
trying to, juggle all of the new appointments, doctor appointments, therapy appointments. Um, and then you have to like talk to all these people who've been studying this field for so long and
Yeah. And
putting on that pressure.
something that over the last few years that I've really reflected on, like, yes, we know the outcomes aren't always great. They're not good, but that does not mean to just sit in despair and do nothing.
Yeah.
And as well, there are so many people at the school level, at the community level, who are working on this, who have their hearts and minds in the right place, and they're working within a system that is a larger system that is broken in many ways. And we're seeing change though. There's a lot more advocacy, there's a lot more awareness and
Yeah.
representation just in these last few years. And I think social media is the greatest thing for disabled people in many ways because now we can see them, now we can hear them, now we can learn from them in ways when they're previously for decades or centuries really just sheltered away. Uh,
Yeah.
so
Even though
yeah,
then the horrible side of social media is seeing how big ableism is, like
yeah,
how horrible they're like, but I try really hard to just be like, you just don't know yet. You haven't had a conversation with a disabled person. You just like, you literally don't know.
yeah, and yeah, and we're not going to reach everybody, but one heart, one mind at a time has ripple effects, and that's something that, I know just in politics in general, there's a lot of despair, there's a lot of concern and worry, and that's totally understandable. I get in those ruts myself, but I had a reflection. I'm, I follow and I've met the founder of Moms Demand Action, Shannon Watts, several years ago, and she put out a tweet once that really has stuck with me forever and will forever stick with me as far as like just complaining for the sake of complaining. Like if I were to just complain, my students are never going to get a job. Everything sucks. Nothing's good. Everything's broken. No, that's truly, or gun rights and common sense gun laws. We're never going to get there. This country is doomed. No, she helped me reflect on that's an insult to just put that out there and just live in that space when there are so many dozens, hundreds, thousands of survivors, of advocates who are working day in and day out for the issues they care most about on making this world a better place. And for me to sit in that despair and say, well, your work is for nothing is an insult to them. And I catch myself time and time again ensuring that no, change is happening. There are people working on this, and we're moving in the right direction ultimately, even if we take one step forward, two steps back at
I
times.
love that. That's actually something me and my partner try to do. And this is like on a very, I mean, kind of different level where if we get to a point like where we're talking and we're just like venting about something and but it's like not helpful. Like we try really hard
Mhm.
to make our conversations like especially about work. If like he comes down and just starts complaining about work and it's just like, well, this is just, like how it is or something. And it's like, well, no, that's not how it has to be. Like, but what could we do to make it like, that you feel like you're making the change that you need or that you feel like you're getting the support that you need? Like we try to make it even like, because I know people have to vent. Like life is hard. We have to like get things off our chest, but I like to end vent sessions with like something positive. Like, okay, I vented all that out, but like this was a good win or a good step forward, and that's what I'm gonna now focus on.
Yeah, and
Uh,
that's in
which
my
makes
job
it better.
now. I'm as a coach, as working and supporting teachers and holding professional development sessions. Me and my fellow math coach, we start our sessions with, instead of only thinking through the lens of, well, my students can't do this, they can't do this. Well, what can they do?
Yes.
That shift right away. Okay, I want to vent. I want to hear your concerns, what's stressing you out, what's burning you out. But okay, let's work on a plan. How do we change that? That is the current state, but that doesn't have to be the final state.
Oh my gosh. I love that so much. That definitely gave me a real idea or a TikTok or whatever, a video idea.
Please, please. And also, I do have to recommend, I don't know if you have read the book Switch or heard of it.
No.
Adam Grant, this is his favorite. He said in a podcast once his favorite book about change. It's called How to Change Things When Change is Hard. And it is the
Oh
most
no.
inspiring. Uh, if you read this, you will believe and learn how you yourself, me, myself, can make huge, 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 huge systemic change, and it's right here. This is the
Oh my
playbook.
gosh.
And
I'm
you'll see
literally
if
gonna,
you read this, Adam Grant has put that into, and it reflects without naming specific things, you can see how the influence has influenced him in many ways. So
wow. I'm about to drop all the books I'm reading right now and like throw this to the top of my
yeah,
list. Because yeah,
it's
one of the next book that I want to read that's a nonfiction book. It is one that Adam Grant had on his email that I was like,
yeah,
it's about cultural growth, like changing. I don't know if it's about really changing cultures, but like just like really understanding cultural shifts and stuff. And
yes, that's
but
yeah,
Switch, I'm probably gonna buy it right now.
it's
Okay, so we are almost done, but I wanted to ask about your fun hats that you have for all of
oh
your
my gosh. Well,
meetings. Can
that
you
is
tell
very
me
much
a
a
little bit
whale of
about
a
that?
tale, in a lot of ways. So I started in 2020 and with the pandemic and lockdown, we had Zoom meetings, everything no one knew, and I had a few goofy hats at the time. Um, and I just showed up to our, daily, weekly meetings through that tumultuous time. It was a very scary time, just to try and brighten, the mood, lighten things up a little
Yeah.
bit. Show up with that, some funny glasses at times. And it just kind of evolved from there to be my like shtick on TikTok and Instagram in many ways, where it evolved. People would buy them on Amazon, my wish list for me, or I would
Oh
then
my gosh.
try to have a new one to invest in. And then, I don't want anyone to get really all like split up about it in ways, but yeah, it's really become a thing. And my wife kind of has a problem with it at times because they just shouldn't live here. But I always fight tooth and nail in many ways, like for just, yeah, for more and
I
more.
love this.
And they would live in my classroom. We'd have Halloween parties once the lockdown ended, and the kids and I'd wear them just for lessons, and the engagement went through the roof, and it was
Oh my
always,
gosh.
always so much fun. Um, my principal loved it, and administrators, were like, "Okay, great,
Like
that's
seriously, such a simple way to make it more fun and
yeah,
engaging in the classroom. Like, I
right." And
love
that's
that. Oh
yeah,
my gosh.
without taking away in many ways. So I probably over have about like 60 of them now, only a handful at home, just for different filming purposes. And then I keep the rest at my desk and office, and then I'll bring some in when I go into classes and schools and visits. Um,
I love
yeah,
it so much.
so it's a good time for sure.
I
And
feel bad for anybody who chose to listen to the audio because they are missing out on, okay,
well,
I
I
would
know.
say the cow one was my favorite, but now I think the pig is my favorite.
Yeah, this is
Pig
my
is
flying pig
clean.
hat. So whenever, I'm advocating for full inclusion and from the top down, uh, which is for many people a wild concept, and they believe it'll never happen, and only when pigs will fly, I'll throw it right back at them with, and show them
With
that it can be
this.
done. That's all you need. So,
Oh my gosh, I
a lot of
love these
fun.
so
And if
much.
they don't believe me, I just call them, some poop and we move on, call it a day. So that's all you need.
I'm so sad I don't have a cool hat near me
Oh,
at
that's
all.
okay. That's okay. I mean, it's not magic. So
And literally anyone listening to audio, go to back to YouTube and go
I
watch.
apologize. I apologize, but I appreciate everybody
No,
so much.
don't apologize. I absolutely love that. That was great.
Thank you.
Um, well, thank you so much. If anybody could like contact you, is that is the best way through like TikTok or Instagram?
Yeah, or my email, Mr. Jackcat1, number one there, at gmail.com, or just give me a follow there and reach out anytime. I have so many resources if you're a teacher, if anything. I love to help. I love to support and connect. So, and this has been an absolute pleasure and an honor. I have so much respect and admiration for all you do, Kayla.
Nice.
Um, yeah, and I'm so excited to continue to follow your own journey and work alongside you and help advocate and promote all that you care so much about.
Thank you so much. And thank you so much for being here. I am just like so happy that we have connected. This has been so great. Um, and yeah, I'm so excited to hopefully someday I will be in New York again and we can actually meet in real life. And then you can show me all of your hats and it will just be a huge like hat party.
Yes, I can't wait. Can't wait.
Thank you so much. And oh, the resources. I just wanted to say your resources are very amazing. Like, they are amazing. So everyone should connect with you to hear more about all of those great resources. They're like, I've shared them with so many people. So they truly are great. And thank you so much. Thank you, everyone who is here. Inclusion starts with you, and we just want to help.
Thank